This might be the single most important video you watch if you are deciding to move abroad. I got to give a shout out to Andy, who I will drop her information in the video description. She created this incredible flow chart, and she's the inspiration behind this video's topic, which is all about the mindset shifts that you need to make before you hop on a flight and get the heck out of Dodge. Okay. It's very sexy to think about the idea of starting over in a new country and just being able to save money and all the things, but I want you to be realistic and practical about the actual internal shifts that you're going to need to make sure that this is a move that elevates you, advances you, and ultimately is the right decision for you. Okay. So, number one, I want you to recognize that comfort is actually the enemy of clarity. Many of you are looking to live a more comfortable life in a more affordable country, and that cannot be your only motive for why you are moving. Yes, you will have comfort. Yes, you will have ease. Yes, there will be accessibility. You will recognize that the cost of living should never be as high as what it is in America. But that cannot be your sole desire because living abroad will eat you up. There's so much more to being an expat than just the comfort. So I want you to also shift from this idea that I need to have everything figured out to I'll figure things out along the way, trusting yourself to figure things out as you go. You might think that it's a more comfortable decision to, I don't know, you get here and you're like, okay, I'll start learning some of the words, when I get here. I'll start figuring out my way around different neighborhoods when I get here. I'll start considering different hobbies when I get here. And I need you to start that process like at home and allow yourself to kind of, I don't know, you start feeling what it's like to actually embody living in a country that you are not native of. It's going to be probably the first couple weeks are going to feel so foreign, well, quite literally, because you're in a foreign country, but it's going to feel so different to your nervous system. And before your nervous system can fully resettle, because your cortisol levels will drop, you will find if you're moving to a country like Thailand, you will likely lose weight unintentionally, and you're just going to find so much more peace and ease and relaxation. But that comes after the process of doing the hard work of deciding, okay, what does it actually look like to attempt to learn a bit of the language? And I'm going to drop in the video description the platform that I use to practice with native speakers. Thai is my fifth language, and it is by far my hardest. So even though I moved here a year ago, I still struggle with like everyday interactions. So it's not something that you can expect to get good at right away. You have to be intentional about putting yourself out there. And another thing that I want you to consider, which leads to our second mindset shift, is that uncertainty does not mean danger. You might not be 100% sure what something is going to feel like, something is going to look like. And I don't want your alarm bells to sound off. I don't want you to look at something that feels foreign as something that feels dangerous. I know in the US, we are taught unintentionally hypervigilance because naturally it's hard to trust anything in the US. Right now, America's operating like a failed startup. So there's no transparency at the top, so it is hard to put trust in a system that is not favoring its people. But I want you to kind of think about the shift of what if it doesn't work out to what if this move what if this move grows me in ways that I never thought? Because you might start to doubt, is this decision for me? Did I make the right country choice? Is this going to work out the way I envision it? But instead of trying to only focus on the best case scenario, I want you to think about what are all the ways that you're going to grow that this move is catalyzing. This move is putting you on the fast track to evolution and expansion, and maybe in a direction that you might not have considered in the past. Because I knew in the US, I outgrew my environment like 3 years before I actually moved. And it was tough. It is tough to see yourself plateau and not live up to your potential simply because there is no, like you have expanded to the perimeters of the box and there's nowhere else to grow unless you get out of that box and move to a new one, which isn't a box. So I learned to not feel, I don't know, um, Here's something I realized is fear sometimes disguises itself as logic. You might say, oh, well, I'm going to make this decision because this is the logical thing to do, or back in the US, this is how I would have operated. But it's just going to be different here. And you might be thinking that you're calling it responsible, but you don't become a stable person. Well, you don't find stability by being in a stable environment. You find stability by becoming a stable person in a potentially unstable environment. And I think that's what the move really does for you. It forces you to face your fears in a way that you probably haven't had to in many years. Like, I want you to think back to the last time you were deeply, like on a visceral level, afraid to do something. Think about the last time you attempted something you were terrified to do. For me, it was probably 2022 when I bungee jumped in Switzerland. I did it, but I remember just not looking down. You get to the top, you're already strapped up, and the lady, she's instructed to push you because so many people at the top back out, and it's just really dangerous. So, unless you're pushed, people often stop and then they hurt themselves. So, on the countdown, it was 3, 2, 1. She was going to launch me no matter what. So, I said, let me not look down because if I see like the rocks, the water, the cliffs, how high I am now going to start to envision the worst case scenario. Oh my gosh, my head would crack open on one of these cliffs. I would, you just don't want to envision that. So, from your perspective, whatever you are currently fearing the most, understand that allowing yourself to embrace the fact that you are doing something brave versus the worst case scenario. So when I got to the top of the cliff, all I did was look up as if I wanted to have, a quick glance at God before I might have actually seen him. I think uncertainty, it's not a red flag to be uncertain. It's actually a rite of passage to be an expat. You will face so many moments of uncertainty and doubt and fear and anxiety. So I promise, like, get comfortable naming it. And I want you to go ahead and name it in the comments. What are you currently feeling? So that I could tell you, oh, yeah, this is when I felt that. Oh, here's how I got over it. But a lot of times, the uncomfortable emotions that we're trying to avoid or suppress are things that we actually need to bring with us in our suitcase. Like, no, anxiety, please, you're here to protect me. Imposter syndrome, doubt, fear, discomfort. All of this is meant to keep me stable and sane. But if I disregard it and pretend that these emotions don't exist, I never actually face it and I don't actually grow. Okay. And the last thing I want you to consider with mindset shift is that reinvention will require release. Many of us make the mistake of bringing our old selves and our old lives and trying to fit it perfectly into this new life in a new country. And it's just not going to work like that. You will change, and you will change in a way that you probably couldn't back home. Your friends will notice, your family will notice, you will notice. And it is very confronting because it's like, whoa, am I ready for change? Do I even want to change? Do I like myself as I am? How do I make sure I'm maintaining what I do like versus outgrowing what I don't like? So, this process of like, you're putting yourself on a fast track to growth when you are moving abroad. And that is terrifying because maybe in your previous life, growth felt very comfortable. Every 3 to 5 years, you can expect that you're going to have a growth spurt. Something major is going to happen in your life that forces you to level up. When you are an expat, you're leveling up every 3 to 6 business days, business months. I don't know, but like you are constantly in scenarios where you're having to almost like adapt a different version of yourself in the moment to just get through the day. Things that you would have never had to consider, scenarios that you would have never had to be in. Um, you just find the next version of yourself abroad. And it's so humbling. I'll never forget that first feeling of realizing that I'm growing and friends witnessing that. Like, wow, I can see you've matured. Like you're different in a good way. We're all gonna grow. Some of us just get taller. Heyo. But we're all growing. But your friends will likely notice, yeah, we can tell that whether it's conversations or experiences or moments, something humbled you, something changed you, something expanded you. And that's something that you just can't put a price on. And I think sometimes as well, when we think about the freedom we're craving, we have to also allow ourselves to release control and surrender. And I actually think my 2026 word is going to be surrender because the amount of times this year I have found myself being like, God, go ahead. Because at this point, me forcing anything in my life is only causing more friction. I operate from a place of flow. And if it doesn't feel like flow, I just need to surrender and let God do his thing. I trust God's plan more than mine. And as much as I feel like, well, I got the plan and I got the juice and I know, you know, as much as I think I know what I want, God always knows better. So no matter your religious beliefs, I want you to realize that you might come in to this new country with a certain intention and it could be completely different from your actual reality. So give yourself the opportunity to embrace change ultimately. And the shift there is I'm starting over to I'm starting deeper. I'm starting deeper. Allow yourself to start at you know how sometimes we say, oh, someone's chapter one, don't compare it to your chapter one, don't compare it to someone else's chapter 10. I feel like you're going to be coming into a country's chapter 10 and you're going to feel like, wait a minute, what about 1 through 9? How do I catch up? And people going to be like, listen, we're on chapter 10, get with it. And you're going to be like, okay. Now you're speed reading, but you're caught up. And that changes you. It humbles you, it grows you, it expands you. It's incredible. And that feeling I will never get tired of. So, yeah, let me know in the chat. Name some of those fears and anxieties so I can help you alleviate it. But if you don't know, my name is Glow and I make videos every single day. And it is a pleasure to have you here. If you are brand new to my channel, please like and subscribe because there's going to be a lot more videos like this. So if you found this helpful, if you are trying to move abroad, specifically to Bangkok, Thailand, I'm your girl. I'm doing my best to crank out these videos that just kind of share more of the intellectual side. I feel like this is the sapiosexual corner where we are stimulated by intellect and powerful conversations. You won't find sensationalist type, you know, news or media over here. I actually like just real in-depth, honest, raw storytelling and conversations. So if you'd like to work with me, you want to join my next Passport to Peace workshop, start the first 3 steps to getting the heck out of the US, join here. It's coming up in a few days and we have a few spots left. I would love to have you. And for yesterday's video about all the things to look for when you are house hunting or condo hunting in Bangkok. All right, y'all. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.